Hey everyone, my name is Luis and welcome to my shop. Today we're going to show you how to cape out a deer head. The first thing we're going to do is make sure we have a sharp knife. I'm using a scalpel blade today, but this is a Havalon blade. For 40 some bucks you can buy a Havalon knife that has these replacement blades. And this is pretty crucial for if you want to do a good job caping these heads out. Don't try to come in here with your big buck knife, skinning knife, because you will make a mess. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to release the inside of this deer's mouth. And that'll make our life easier once we are coming from the other direction. So we'll open his mouth here. And you want to stay away from the hairline. You want to stay as close to his gums as possible, giving the taxidermist a lot of skin to work with. This is what we're going to have to tuck into our form later on. Take your time doing all this. And that's why it's so crucial having this sharp blade. But you need to take your time so you don't cut yourself and you don't make any unnecessary holes. This is the gristle to the nose right here. So this hole I made right here, that's the nostril. And we're going to cut, following the gum line, we're going to cut that gristle in the nose. We'll release on the other side too. And we're going to cut that nose clear off. You're going to hit bone right about there. So very carefully cut through the gristle that goes to the top of his head here and release that whole nose. There you go. The nose is released. So now we're going to keep cutting our lips here. I'm aiming my knife in towards the bone instead of out like this. It's very easy to cut into the skin that way. So you're going to wreck your blade, but that's why it's nice to have these replaceable blades because you can just switch them. We'll release the other side. I'm going to try not be in the way here, but we need to release the bottom lip. Just stay close to the teeth. Come down here a little bit. Same thing on the other side. And there's her bottom jaw lip. That's all we're going to do from this side of things. Close them back up. This deer came into me with the whole hide on. And that's absolutely fine. But we need to open up behind his head here. If you leave a big neck roast on this thing, you're going to have to open that hide up all the way as big as that neck roast is. But we don't have much on this guy. So we're going to do the white cut, what taxidermists always talk about. I'm going to go up here till about in the middle of the antlers and then go out to each antler. Also nice with a very sharp knife here so you can make a nice straight line. All right. Okay. I want to go up a little further. So I'm right about here now. Get the hair out of the way. I went a little bit further up, so this is going to be a T cut instead of a Y cut. See, try and make myself a little trough here, get the hair out of the way so I don't cut all that off. And then starting right at the burr, I'm going to cut towards my incision. Like that. we're going to come back. Release that last little bit there. And we're going to go the other way. Get the hair out of the way. And let's see if I can make this cut. Go the other way here. Cut through all the gristle. There, we made our incision. Now we need to release a little bit here to make it easier to work with. Go down towards our ear. Keep skinning. Need to release here a little bit more. And right here is our ear butt. We need to cut those. Try and stay as close to the head as you can. And the smaller you make this incision, it's going to be a little bit crowded for you, so you can cut down more if you want to give yourself some slack. We're going to do that just a little bit. Keep it nice and straight. There, that'll be easier. All right, we're going to release this ear too. Stay close to the head. And right there, I cut the ear canal. I'll show that later, but we have to release up here to be able to get down further on the ears. So now I will cut around the burrs. And what I like to do, take my blade and face it this way and go right underneath the burr and just push into the pedicle to release the skin. And now I'm flipping my knife blade up. And I'm putting pressure on this. I'm bending the blade because I want to stay as close to that pedicle as I can so I don't cut the skin. Sometimes you can grab it. Once you've released it, you can grab it and pull it a little bit. It's always nice when you can do that. It doesn't always work. Now we're released here, so now I can keep skinning this ear. And that's his ear canal that I cut earlier. Keep cutting that off. And that gives us more slack to work around the burr. So I'm going to open up the other burr here. Do the same thing. Release that skin a little bit. Grab it and pull. Here's where I started my ear earlier. It's the ear canal. This part here can get a little tricky sometimes to get to. We'll try and release the top a little bit more. Release it. It's just a little awkward to do this, but you're just going to have to take your time. I'll flip them around. And keep going back and forth to release this. So now we just have this little area here attached. But there. Got it off the pedicle. take it down a little bit. I'm going to finish off the other side before we proceed. Finishing off in the front, I think. Oh, there. All right. Now, to get to the eyes, we need to create some slack. So I'm going to finish skinning around this part of the head. Like this. All right. Now we got slack, so now we're going to do the eyes. 99.7% of the time when I get a deer head in that somebody's already caped, the back corner of the eye is slit in the wrong place. So what you need to do, you can see the beginning of the eye orbit here. You need to put your finger in his eye, and you can see my finger moving in there. So my finger is around the eyelid. And that's the one we need to protect. So I'm gripping with my thumb. I'm gripping that eyelid, and I'm starting to cut very carefully. I'm staying right at the edge of that eye orbit. And as I'm skinning, I am pulling. Now I'm to the point where I've skinned it down so far, you can actually see the color difference here. So that's the iris and the white of his eye. I use that as a guideline, and I cut it open right there. Now you can see this is the eyelid. That's the one we want to stay away from. We can release a little bit more around here now, but keep cutting and keep pulling. This is the front corner of the eye. Absolutely want to stay away from that. So keep pulling, going at an angle a little bit. And right here in the front corner, there's going to be a little bone, a bump. And you're going to hit that right there. So you're going to have to work your way around it, just real careful, like that. And there it is. So we made the eye, but here's the next critical part that almost always gets cut, and that's the tear duct. It goes into a little crevice. So I'm using my thumb to pull away here as much as I can. Stick to the bone. This guy didn't have very deep tear duct, so you can hardly see it, but here it is. Now on a mule deer, that tear duct is going to be 4 times deeper than a whitetail. And you can cut that whole thing out, and a taxidermist would prefer that you did, but it's going to take some patience. To the other side, we'll find our eye here. There's the orbit. Poke him in the eye. Right there's my finger. Stick to the orbit. And there's the iris. It's upside down, so it's a little awkward. Find that little hump again and go around it. Alright. On the tear duct. There we go. Most critical part's done. You can see this muscle going over his teeth right here. I'm just gonna go right underneath it and cut it off. And there's your teeth. And down here somewhere we're gonna find the cut that we made from the other side, which is right there. Keep skinning his face. Do the other side. Just that same muscle. And there you go. Also with the CWD, you're gonna need to buy or borrow a sawzall or a bone saw, and you need to cut this. You need to cut this skull right about here, and you need to get that brain out and cleaned up. And that's it. Hope you learned something. I'll see you next time.